and welcome to Group Tech. So today, Alana Thompson, better known as Honey Boo Boo, took the world by storm at the age of, I can't believe that, 6, on Toddlers and Tiaras. That breakthrough role soon led to her own series, Here Comes Honey Boo Boo, which at one point was one of the biggest reality shows on television. Alana narrates a new Lifetime biopic entitled I Was Honey Boo Boo, which premieres Saturday, May 17th at 8/7 Central, in which she reveals how her plucky on-screen persona masked a world of pain caused primarily, unfortunately, by her mother, June. Alana, welcome to Group Text. Now, before we get started, I just want to clear something up. All over the internet, half the people say you've had a daughter, half people say you have not had a daughter. Which is it?
It is, I have not had a daughter.
Okay.
I've had no kids. I am not planning for kids. Kids are out of the picture right now.
I mean, it's crazy. Literally, it's everywhere, and it's really 50-50.
Yeah, I feel like their biggest story is that I'm pregnant. Like, I feel like it's been everywhere ever since I went to college, and I'm like, I'm not, guys.
You're like, wow, this is the longest pregnancy ever.
Yeah, I'm literally like, I've been pregnant for like 2 years, guys. Like,
yeah. Okay, good. I had to ask because I was like, okay, this is confusing to me. So this is a really interesting storytelling device. When I first I was like, oh, this is cool. And then when I really thought about it, basically, let me see if I get this right. You narrate basically a movie with actors not doing recreations, but actually playing you and your mom and your sisters, and then it cuts back to you as a narrator. Yes. How was this pitched to you?
It would just kind of come to me. The people that do our reality TV show that we're all on, they kind of reached out to me and was like, Lifetime wants to do a documentary with you, like some type of documentary. We're not sure how it's going to look just yet, but it's something they want to do with you. And I got into the whole, like, talking to them and with their creative team and everything. And we come up with the I Was Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah, it was a very interesting storytelling device. How'd you know it was the right time to do it?
I just knew it was the right time just because I feel like I've been on TV for so long. One.
You have.
And for two, I just feel like everybody thinks they know, like, me and my story. And I feel like my story is completely different than what people think it is or how people tell it. And I thought now would be a perfect time to tell my own story.
At the start of the show, you say you were doing this to break this cycle of emotional abuse from your mother, June, who, did the drugs and the men and the money and the family's well-being. Is that true? That you realize that this was a moment to at least put a comma, not a period, into the story?
I believe so. I think it's true. I feel like this is just me just breaking generational curses. Me going to nursing school, I feel like, is a really good way to break generational curses. And me just having like a good boyfriend, just because my whole life I was never brought up on like my family going to college or like having these good people in their life. And I just feel like for me to just see how I was when I was younger and to see my upbringing and to now see how I am and to just see like the things I don't want in my life is kind of crazy, if I'm being honest.
What's really interesting, though, is because you watch this and you're very clear that you do not want your mother in your life. And then you kind of soften because you guys are working together again. But it seems like, have you put boundaries? Have you built this wall that it's almost an eye roll when she starts acting like herself?
100%. I have definitely built boundaries, and I've definitely had to tell myself not to have very much expectations, and not to just like prepare myself for something that's not going to happen. So I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of people have asked me while doing interviews and stuff, like, how do I forgive mama? Like, how do I just get past it? And my honest answer is like, I don't know. Like, I always tell people she's just my mom. And I think at the end of the day, like, I don't even think I really forgive. I think I just end up pushing it past me, and I'm just like, oh, okay, like, it's okay. Because I think I'm just so used to it. It's kind of just like, oh, it's okay. It's another one of mama's outbreaks.
So let me just rewind a little bit. So Toddlers and Tiaras happens. We see that you guys decide to do it. Now it's 6 years old.
Yes.
You're not really, should I do a reality show is the same as which color popsicle do I want? So how did all of a sudden, so you go from doing Toddlers and Tiara, where they follow you a little, to suddenly a crew and a camera following you all the time? Yeah. Even at 6, you got to be like, there was a scene where you're like, I want to go to someone's house.
I mean, there was times where I was just like, I don't feel like filming for the rest of the day. But I can say that the film crew was very much adaptable to me. When I was just in my little moods and I was like, I don't want to do it today, they were very much like, okay, that's fine. She doesn't have to be on camera today. We'll cut her out the scene. So they were very much understanding of like when I wanted to do it and when I didn't want to do it. There was never a time that I was like forced to do it. But at the end of the day, like I loved it. I loved doing it. I loved being the center of attention. I loved making people laugh and making people smile and just being fun and happy and like have a very big personality for sure.
Oh yeah, and you were born with a big personality.
Yeah, so I have a very big personality. So I love for people to see my personality for sure.
But it's a lot of pressure for a 6-year-old to literally be carrying a show.
No doubt. It definitely was a lot of pressure. I'm not going to sit here and say it was the easiest thing I've ever done. It definitely was not. It was hard. I had to adjust. It was new. I didn't know whether to look in the camera or just look around. Like very, very different than what I was used to. But like I said, once we started doing it and I just seen how much love we got from everybody, like I was like, we have to do more.
Yeah. How was it at that point going to school? Because you hadn't started homeschooling yet.
No, I hadn't. So it was hard, but if I'm being honest, I was still young. I was in like 3rd or 4th grade. And back then kids are not they wasn't as advanced as they are now. Like we didn't have phones and
right.
We didn't the kids didn't, if I'm being honest, the kids didn't even really know. The moms knew more than the kids. And they honestly didn't make a big deal of it. I guess it was because I was just so young. They were like, she's just trying to go to school. She's in 3rd grade. What are we, there's no reason to make a big deal,
When was the first time you remember being recognized in public?
I don't have exact memory, but I do remember I was a little shocked for sure. I was and I was almost a little weirded out. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, why are these random people wanting a picture with me? That's weird. But then after I realized that I'm on this TV show and this TV show has really blown up. That's why people want a picture of me. I started to understand it more, and there was never a point that I was ever rude to my fans, but I think as I started to not feel so weirded out about it, it definitely got more comfortable for me.
Your mother seemed to really be the driving force behind all of this fame, and she so craved, like a crazy person, the spotlight. And you say that's when the cycle of pain really started, because you were the key to the kingdom, basically. Can you pinpoint or have a distinct memory of when you had an inkling there's something wrong with this relationship?
I mean, I just think it was at the point of she just wanted to buy everything, and we just started going on all these different trips. I remember when we very first started filming, one of our first trips were going to Hollywood, which was very ironic for us because we didn't go to Hollywood. If we were going on family vacation, we were going to probably Florida or something. We wasn't going to Hollywood. So when we started going to Hollywood, and then I just noticed that we started to get nicer things than we used to have, and I was like, I think we may have a little bit of money now, but I wasn't sure just because I was so young. I was just having fun. I was really young and naive for sure.
Which probably saved you. And your dad, Sugar Bear, and you make it very clear in this project, really did not want things to change. Do you have a relationship with him at all now?
No.
It's interesting because he was the one he's portrayed as the one that almost was a grounding force.
Yeah.
Do you look back and say, hindsight's 2020, maybe he was better than we gave him credit for being?
know if I could say that just because this movie did cover a good bit of what we went through, but I didn't really, when doing this movie, I didn't want to really like uncover the trauma of like what my dad has really put me through. So there's a lot of things that my dad has done that nobody knows and nobody will probably ever know because I just don't feel comfortable sharing that trauma. But I don't know. I don't know if I'd say I'd give him more credit than where credit's due, but yeah, he was probably like, I mean, I feel like if my mom may have would have listened to him, like we wouldn't have went this far with the TV and everything like that. But then again, like the TV shows I'm kind of grateful for just because I know for a fact that I would never be able to go to Colorado and like actually afford to pay for college if the TV show wasn't there. So I
Right.
am very grateful for it in a sense.
How did you decide what was off limits?
Um, Almost like I just kind of said it like earlier, is like the camera crew kind of decided that, if I'm being honest. Like when they seen me physically get irritable or just not want to be there, they were like, okay, that's off limits. Take her out. We can try again tomorrow. Or if they don't want to do it at all, like we'll just take her out the scene.
Right. No, I mean off limits when making this docudrama.
Oh, no, 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 no. There was literally nothing off limits. Other than like what my dad has put me through, other than that, there was nothing off limits. I literally spilled all the beans.
Now, was your family aware you were doing this?
Yes, they were.
And your mother was okay with how she was portrayed?
Um,
Or
I
enough?
Yeah, I think she was. I think she also is now at a point in a really good headspace right now to understand that yes, she did bad, but we're in a really good spot right now. And I can say when we were making this movie, one of my biggest points was like my mama, she's done dirt, but I don't want to make her seem like this bad, horrible, like villain, you know? So I wanted to make sure that the point got across, but not the point where like she just seems like she's this horrible person.
Right. So I want to go back again. So everything blows up. Here comes Honey Boo Boo. The whole thing. How did your sisters handle it? Because you really did, and it's not by any fault of your own, became the center of the family simply also by A, fame, but B, the breadwinner.
Yeah, I think I definitely think my sisters took a little bit of heat for that for sure. They were very I don't want to sound cocky, but I do think they were jealous of me if I'm being honest. They were
Yeah.
jealous that I was getting all the love from mama and I was like this shining star in her eyes. And I think for the most part I don't want to just say that, but I think it really hurt Jessica the most just because mama would be at like every pageant, everything that I ever done. And like Jessica, she was really big into like softball and stuff, but like we were never there for her. We never went and like watched a game for her or whatever. But it was like every pageant, everybody was there. So I definitely think that it hurt my sisters to know that like I was mama's light or mama's shining star or whatever it may have been. But I think in a way they just didn't say anything. Like they didn't want to cause anything. They didn't want to start anything. So they just went on about their business.
Well, you realize that would be very normal for them
Yeah.
to feel that way.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that is not a shock.
Yeah. I literally don't like feel like I don't know what word I'm looking for, but like it's okay for them to feel that. It's
Yeah.
understandable for them to feel that.
It's normal.
Yeah, like it's normal just because like I mean look at what was put in front of them. Like, you know?
So I know I'm jumping around a little bit,
Oh,
but
you're good.
so the money's rolling in. Your mom goes a little bananas.
Mhm.
And your sisters really step in and protect you.
Yes.
You're all not that far apart in age. I mean, you are clearly the baby.
Yes.
What was it like? What was the experience like for them realizing, oh my God, our mother's gone off, it has gotten on the crazy train, and we got to make sure she doesn't take our baby sister with her?
Yeah. I think for the most part, Pumpkin, for her, I think she was just in mommy mode. Her being a mom, I think that she always wants the best for her kids and she always thrives so hard to be the best for her kids. So I think when she seen mama like kind of spiraling out, she was like, I know for a fact that like I would never want my kids in this position. So I know for a fact Alana shouldn't be in this position. I know they're like she just shouldn't be here. And I mean, I feel like all of them were like just sad for me and like they just in a way almost felt bad for me and like they had to help me because like I was the youngest. I didn't know what to do. Like I couldn't help myself.
Well, one thing, and I'm just thinking about this right now, it's kind of lovely that they protected and allowed you to be a kid
Yeah.
in a way. They really, especially Pumpkin, became a buffer.
Yeah, I can definitely say like in a sense they definitely for sure did and they let me be a kid to a certain point. Like I knew what was going on, but I didn't know every detail. So like they obviously shielded my ears from like certain things, but I did still know what was going on. I wasn't like it was no secret what was going on.
Right. A lot of the problems surround money.
Yes.
And for people who don't know, when you are a child performer, there is something called a Kugan account that is a legal thing that must be done.
Yes.
And a certain percentage of the child's earnings must be protected in a Kugan account. All through Toddlers and Tiaras and through Honey Boo Boo, which made a huge amount of money, I found it staggering that there was nobody watching to make sure that the money was going to the right place. Because I've always understood it to be, and when I've had to do it, like when my son did our reality show, it is very clear. Like it is no choice, and the network checks and makes sure that the money is going to the right place.
Yeah. Honestly, like I said, I was young during that time, so I didn't like too much know like how excuse me, how it worked. But all I know is that mama was required, I believe, to put like 20% into a Kugan account. Like she was required by like law to put that 20
Right.
into the Kugan account. And then what the other money she did was she said she took care of me with that money. So I guess to the network or whatever. I guess that looked good. I don't really know if there was somebody checking. I don't know how that worked. I don't know if it just kind of got pushed aside or
But you also say she did only put the 20%, but the
yeah.
20% seems so small when you find out how much it is.
Yes, 100%.
And that to me, it was like gave me pause.
Yeah, definitely. It was for sure that was probably the most shocking thing ever for me just because like I thought I'd have so much money when I got older to go to college and I didn't have nearly as much as I thought. So it was definitely like shocker for me. It was sad. Like I didn't know what I was going to do.
So Honey Boo Boo goes off the air and you're 9 years old. How did they explain that to you? Because you are living with the crew. I mean, I remember from our reality show, you knew everybody that was going on in everybody's lives, and it's the same people every day.
Yeah.
Emotionally, how was that? How did they explain that to you? One day they're just gone.
Yeah. So my mama just kind of told me that the show got canceled. Like that's literally all it was. Like the camera crew, they didn't like live with us or nothing. They just like would just come in every day.
Well, that's what I mean by live with you. They're part of
100%.
the furniture.
100%. Like they were definitely a big part of our life for sure. They were there every day. So it was like I didn't know how to take it. I was just thinking like why did the show get canceled? But again, I was young. I was naive. I'm like, okay, it got canceled. My mama said it got canceled. That's all it is. Like I was very much one of the people that were like if my mama says it, it's right.
But didn't you miss the people? Didn't you miss having the crew around? Because you form relationships.
Yeah, 100%. You definitely do form relationships with the people, and we had an amazing crew. And of course, I missed them, but there was nothing I could do about it. The show was canceled. I didn't have like a phone to just call them up and be like, "Hey, like whenever you want
Right.
to get lunch, like let's get lunch." So, of course, I missed them. There was just nothing I could physically do about that.
Right. But all of a sudden, you're kind of giving your childhood back. And you get sent back off to school. And that had to be a very hard transition to go from basically a working actor to, oh, by the way, here's your lunchbox, go back to school?
Yeah, it was hard, but I'm not gonna lie, I was excited. I hadn't been to school in a while. So like I was excited to like get that one-on-one like friend reactions and to get like to be at school 8 hours a day and just like literally just be at school and be a normal kid. I was excited for that.
But it wasn't easy for you. And we
It,
see that in the
no,
movie.
it definitely wasn't easy. It was definitely a very hard transition and it was definitely something that took time, but I eventually like jumped over the hurdles.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, out of the blue, your mom gets a phone call. Now they're giving her a show from hot to not.
Yes.
What was your reaction?
I was excited again. Like I was like, "Oh, we're finna be back on TV again." Like I was excited. I was like, "Here we are. We got a new show. Like we're doing good." I was a little bit sad just to hear that like the show wasn't my name just because like it was Here Comes Honey Boo Boo for so long.
Forever.
Yeah, so I was definitely a little sad to know that like my mom was kind of like the star of the show now. But all in all, I loved it. I loved being the center of attention. I really enjoy being on camera.
Can't tell that. The show starts, and I just remember from all the publicity. And then not only does your mother really unravel, you have a crew documenting it.
Yes.
And you were used to being on camera. How did the rest of your family feel about the curtain being pulled back in not a good light as to what was happening?
I don't know how like my other family felt. I feel like for them it was different just because like for Here Comes Honey Boo Boo, there was like really like no tragic moments like what had happened here. So it was definitely different. It was a little weird for me because I'm like, oh, okay, like we're really gonna put this on TV? Like, okay. But after we started filming and after I realized just how much addiction really does mess with like families every day, I kind of enjoyed filming it just so when people watch our show, like they don't feel alone. They're like, okay, well, I like a lot of people think like we're like we have this Kim Kardashian lifestyle and like we're just so famous and all this. And it's like I'm a normal person every day. I go and get my coffee just like a normal person. Like I don't have my assistant doing all that. So I mean, I just feel like it was fun and it was a good way to show people to just like, you're not alone.
Because it's very, what you show on the actual reality show and what you show in the movie, it is not pretty.
Yeah, it's definitely not. And I kind of think that's the direction I kind of wanted to go. If I'm being honest, I didn't want it to be this pretty fantasy, because that's not my life. My life is no pretty fantasy. So I wanted it to be my life for real. If it was dark and sad, that's what it's going to be because like, that's my life.
They're doing the show. It goes from being called Hot to Not to Family Crisis, which tells you there had to have been a point where it was so bad that you had to say to the crew, you cannot film this. There had to be those moments because having done a reality show, there are those moments where you're like, you know what, you can't film this.
Honestly, I don't even think that come from us more. I think that come from our producer. She's been great. And I think she was more of like the person that was like, okay, guys, like put the cameras down. Like that's a little overboard. So a lot of the times it was her saying it. She was like, no, we're not putting that on camera. Like we can find something else to film, but that's not going on camera. So a lot of the times we didn't even have to say it for ourselves. She just like, she's been around so long. She's almost like a third mom.
Right. What was the darkest point for you?
I think the darkest point was just like my mom when she hit like rock bottom for sure. Just seeing her like that was just so weird to me. Just I've never seen her like that.
The story is very interesting.
Yes.
Because there is this openness and this honesty from being in the reality show and then you doing this project, yet we know there's so much more.
Yes.
It's hard not to ask, what didn't you tell?
Honestly, and I've gotten asked this a few times, honestly, there's not much I didn't tell. Like my whole life has been on camera. So there was a lot that I had to like dig down in there. And I'm like, okay, wait, what hasn't been on camera? Because I wanted to show you guys what hasn't been on camera. I didn't want to show you guys what's been on camera. You guys have seen that before. So I wanted to show you what hasn't been on camera. So it was hard to just kind of dig down and just figure it out. But there was mainly nothing that was left uncovered. I'm every little square inch except for like what my dad has done is on that movie.
It's because it's a lot.
Yes, I don't know how they fit everything into like that hour-long movie. I just don't get it.
You were always very motivated to go to college,
Yes.
which I is extremely admirable. When you're a TV personality, what makes you suddenly say, no, now I want to be a nurse?
Honestly, just because I just think back and I'm like, well, one of my shows have gotten canceled before, and there's no telling that I'll wake up tomorrow and they're like, oh, well, we don't want to do this show anymore. So I need something that is actually going to be reliable when that day does come, or when I just am like, I'm done with this fully, like I want to walk away. I need something reliable to make sure that I'll still be okay and financially okay. Like the show isn't going to last forever, you know?
It's pretty heartbreaking when you find out, which should be such a joyous moment, that not only did you get in, you got a scholarship, and then you find out there's no money.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah, that was a very hard part for sure. I didn't honestly at that point I'd kind of lost some motivation. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna even get to Colorado. I don't know how I'm gonna pay for this. But luckily enough, Pumpkin had money put back for me, and I was already kind of saving a bit. So that helped. And then with our new show that, well, not the new show, but the show that it's not new. We've been filming it for a while now. But with that show, that helped with the money that was coming in. And, I just been taking it one day at a time.
How did Pumpkin get so smart?
I don't know. I think because
I mean, some people are just street
I
smart.
think, yeah, I just think she just has it in her because Pumpkin has never really, like, she was never, like, wanted to do school. Like, she hated school. Like, I don't know, but Pumpkin, she really is for sure smart.
I mean, she saved your life.
For sure.
Let's get into the boyfriend, because that was very scandalous at the time because of the age difference.
Yes.
You were 16 and he was 21 when you met? 20?
19 when we met.
19? Something like that?
Like something like that.
Yeah, because when we looked it up, it said, that was the big thing, was he was 20 or 21. That.
Yeah, they definitely, that was for sure like one of the biggest points. But I think a lot of like me just not really, I guess you could say caring about it is just because like that's how I was growing up. Pumpkin and Josh, they had a pretty big age gap. My mom had always dated older men as well. And I know a lot of people are like, well, you should not follow in your mom's footsteps for men. And I would never. Like, my mom set a really good example of like what I never want in a man. So, but I don't know. I just feel like something about Drayland, like when we met, we really connected, and like he's just been there and he supported me like through everything I've done.
But when you walk into a family like yours that is not just a lot.
Yes.
And it's on TV as well. I mean, he had to be like, what is going on here? I mean, that's a lot to take on. And I know that just with my husband, Steve, and we just got married. It was a lot. It was a lot for him from going from like from being a totally private person to suddenly people like, hi, my wife's on TV.
Yeah, it is. It's hard. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it's all cupcake and rainbows. I'm not. It is very hard. And it was a very hard transition for Drayland. He didn't really know how to take it. He'd never really like watched the show or anything. Like he knew of Honey Boo Boo because we lived in the same small little town, but he didn't like watch it or anything. So he was very new to it. He didn't really he wasn't caught up on like what my life has been since then. So he was new. I had to explain to him, but ever since I sat him down and explained to him, he's been such a great support. I can say he doesn't love being on camera, but he kind of does it just because of me, if I'm being honest. It's not like he hates it, but he doesn't love it. He was very much a secretive, not secretive, but not so public when we first got together. So now for everybody to just like be in his business is kind of weird for him, but he's definitely gotten used to it by now.
Right. I mean, it takes a certain type of personality. I mean, he must really love you to be like, okay, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, and it was very hard. Like, honestly, when our producer had first asked, like, hey, do you think Jalen would want to be on the show? I was like, I don't even want to ask him that. I'm
Yeah.
like, we just had like been together not very long. I was like, I don't think we're ready for that yet. But I had asked him, and with no hesitation, he was like, yeah, that's fine.
How long have you guys been together now?
Um, this December will make 5 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I want to, yeah, and unfortunately, you lost one of your sisters.
Yes.
And your mother is now battling to get custody of her granddaughter.
Yeah, she already has went to court and she got granted full custody.
Okay. How with this going out into the public? I mean, when I heard that, I'm like, how can she get custody? She does not have, she very publicly does not have a good track record.
I can say 100%. Even when I first heard that my mama might be getting custody, I was a little scared. I was like, I don't know if this is the best place for KDP to go. Well, we call her KDP, Caitlin.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know if this is the best place for her to go. I was like, my childhood wasn't the best. Like, I'm not too sure about this. But honestly, if I'm being completely honest with you right now, my mom has like literally done a full 180. It's so crazy to see where she is right now to compared to where she was even a year ago today. She's done so much better. And I feel like that has a lot to do with Justin being in her life. Justin makes sure to hold her very much accountable for things that she does not want to hold herself accountable for. And overall, like I can say I'm so proud of the way that like Mama is with KDP because she definitely is doing better.
So you think she learned?
I definitely think she learned. I think she learned, and I think also, like I said, Justin being there keeps her head on a swivel. And
Yeah,
like,
he seems, when I went back and watched some of the series, he's a solid guy.
yes, he really is. He's great.
Is she still sober?
Yes,
That's amazing.
yes, she is.
And do you think you'll ever really, I mean, you've obviously made peace with your mother. Do you ever think, and making peace with someone does not necessarily mean you will ever truly trust them, especially emotionally again. Do you think you will get to that place of trust?
I think so. Like I said, I mean, I don't even think it's really like a trust thing for me. I just think for me, it's like not having expectations for her anymore, not just hoping for something that's, for a fact is not going to happen. Because I mean, at the end of the day, like with my mama, you never know what's gonna happen. And I always wish the best for her and I always like hope that she's on this good path, but sometimes she does spiral out. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes she does, and it is scary when she spirals out. And I hope that where she is right now, she'll continue and she won't go back ever again to her old ways, which I highly can believe that she will never ever do drugs again just because of how much like I don't know, she's very much anti-drugs now. Like she doesn't do drugs, she doesn't do alcohol, like nothing. She doesn't even smoke a cigarette, nothing.
That's fantastic. So let's talk about something very fun and exciting. How far are you from getting your degree?
I have 2 more years.
So have you started your practical yet?
Not yet. I start this June. I just got done with all like my prereqs and now I'm starting like the official nursing program this June.
Yeah, because do you think you're gonna walk into someone's room and someone's gonna go, Honey Boo Boo just took my blood. I mean, are you prepared for that?
Sure. I was literally just talking about this in another interview I just did, and I think that's going to be hard, but I think in a sense it'll kind of be funny for me because it's like, but look where I am now. Like I used to be a reality TV star, but now I'm a nurse and I've got my degree and stuff. So I think in a sense it'll be funny. I think after a while, people would just eventually probably get used to it and be like, oh, well, like Honey Boo Boo's a nurse. Like that's no biggie. Like she's been a nurse for years. So I think after a while, people will get used to it. But I think at first, for me, I think it's going to be funny.
Yeah, well, with your personality, you should really go into pediatrics.
Yes, I do. I want to. I want to go and be pediatric ICU.
Yeah, because the kids will love you. Thank you so much for taking the time. Honey Boo Boo, I Was Honey Boo Boo premieres Saturday, May 17th, 8, 7 Central on Lifetime. Alana, best of luck.
Thank you.
Glad your life's in a good place.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me.
My pleasure.
Bye.